Ben, Legion of Merit, he's a horse you must be looking forward to riding again. That win last time out off the front was a pretty impressive one.
Yeah, it was fantastic, Nick. He really enjoyed himself. Wet conditions done him no harm, and for a horse that's never won leading, he put it this way, he really enjoyed himself. So barrier 7 tomorrow night, stays in class 4, carries a little bit more weight, but he's a winner at Happy Valley over the course and trip, and off his track work leading into today with a little space between runs, it's definitely done him no ill effects.
Yeah, it's sort of answered my next question, really, in the sense that obviously he has won around here, and going from the front last time just gives you a few more strings to the bow, doesn't it, really?
Absolutely, yeah, exactly that. It's He's won sitting back. His first win at Happy Valley actually made a mid-race move and really showed his good staying ability. So he's a very versatile horse. Obviously, just have to ride him to whatever best, I guess you could ever say, what's just suiting him on the night and the race complexion. But please, I won't be complaining if we end up in front again.
I had a look at his track work, Ben, recently. He's for an older horse, he's certainly holding on to plenty of form and plenty of zest, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure. He felt really well on Saturday when he last galloped, and during the week before that. So, as obviously his last win on a good yielding surface here on Champions Day, he really showed a good turn of foot in testing ground, and the tracks, just due to weather, which is out of everyone's control, have been testing in their own right. He's done him no harm. He doesn't mind getting his feet wet, so should find similar conditions tomorrow night at the Valley, and hopefully can make it 2 in a row.
Yeah, he looks a decent chance for you. Good to get another winner on the board with Lost Child there in the last on another group race day. That was a decent performance from him, really.
It was. He'd been racing so consistently, so it was a well-deserved win for Michael Chang, his team, and Connections. So 2/3 behind good company in class 3, and yeah, he was a really good run. He travelled nice, 3 pairs back. I sort of had the favourite on our outside, looking to follow, but he was going so well, he was able to come up its inside and kick away. So great win. Hopefully does his confidence the world of good.
Just finally, I mean, I don't want to beat the drum about how tough it is here, because we all know that, but do you feel now that there's a little bit of traction towards the end of the season, and I guess that will stand you in great stead if you can just boot in those few more winners before the season's out?
Yeah, I hope so. Obviously, I don't take anything, never take anything for granted. It's no winners come easy anyway, let alone anywhere, should I say, let alone here in the toughest and most competitive racing jurisdiction in the world. So it's honestly, it's been the best experience of my career being here. Loving my time here. It's more so just settled in well now, like naturally. Been here 3.5 months and getting good support and found a routine. So hopefully things just keep getting better.
Hugh, Sky Trust is a ride for you on Wednesday night. Still a relatively lightly raced horse, but good to see him get his head in front last time at Chartin.
Yes, he was racing well up until that recent victory, and won with a bit of authority. But you know, Casper's got a good association with Happy Valley, as we know, and he's sort of moved him there up in trip. So it's just important that he relaxes a bit. So I'll be mindful of that. He did want to get a bit keen mid-race last start at Chartin, so you'd probably expect a bit more tempo, although we're up in trip. Happy Valley can create a bit more speed, generally speaking. So if that happens, it'll certainly assist him.
From a rider's perspective, I mean, you say going to the Valley, the tight sort of turns there, would that just help you get a horse to settle, perhaps?
Well, it's got more to do with the speed. So I've got to manage it well. I've got to keep up with the speed, but in the same token, not sort of ask him to get going before I'm ready. So yeah, it's certainly a different atmosphere, and it tends to be a bit of a rush early on, especially from the 1200 and the 1650, which we're racing over. So look, he's drawn in the middle of the pack, so we'll just find a position somewhere behind the leaders, and yeah, with consistent pace, he should have a really good turn of foot.
And I guess that you sort of hit the nail on the head there, because the turn of foot he showed last time was quite impressive, given that he was that bit keen. You came down more the middle. Was that by design at all, or was that just the way it played out?
Well, because he was travelling keen, I didn't want to sort of move into the race when I was ready. I was really holding on to him. So when I pressed the button, I did it pretty swiftly, and he wanted to run out a little bit, but you know, it wasn't sort of by design. It was just I was out there, so I just stayed there. But look, it'll be interesting. You know, he's still learning. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. He's not the ready-made article yet, but he's got some talent, and if he gets in a good rhythm, he'll win.
Yeah, obviously you mentioned he is trained by Casper Fownes, as we know, is very much the king of the valley. No trials here. I guess if you can draw any sort of comparison, Hugh, as to what a valley horse might feel like, is this guy one of them possibly, do you think?
Well, I think so, because he's very good on his feet and have to be able to adapt and turn, as you pointed out. So, I think it's more to do with just getting into that racing rhythm. He'll have no trouble with the corners because he's a very well-balanced horse. So, just hopefully we'll get a nice run.
Alexis, KYRUS Dragon, one of your rides on Wednesday night. He's a horse at the bottom end of the weights here, but he continues to race well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he seems to be in good form. I think his handicap mark is pretty good. He definitely improved recently, so I think he should run well from a good gate.
He's only still relatively lightly raced, and I guess he's just sort of slowly getting there, isn't he, really, without doing anything sort of extraordinary. But his form certainly ties in with some of the best in this.
Yeah, he's still fresh for this season, I think, and he's a tiny horse. He's not a big horse, so I think the bottom weight in Class 3 is a good thing for him. Anyway, he's in good form. I don't think the track will suit him, wherever it's raining or not, and he's in good form.
He's drawn gate 2. I know he doesn't necessarily sit super close to the pace, but always good to have a nice low draw.
Yeah, that's a lot easier. You know, I don't have to worry about many things. Just follow the rail and see if I can finish strong.
He looks a rock solid chance. Just going back to the weekend, must ask you about Flying Ace. That was a really good run in defeat from him.
Yeah, very good race. He's a lovely horse. He's had a great season. So he's beaten by a good horse, obviously, and I hope he's still got the ability to win at that level. He's a nice horse. I was grateful.
Just a word on your season, Alexis. I think just recently got to the 36th, I think it was, so you've surpassed last year's tally. We haven't got too much longer left of the campaign. How do you sort of view your season currently?
It was a good season overall. Like, there was clearly some highlights, and last season was obviously difficult with my fall, and this season is very competitive. But I'm grateful for the support, and I think things are going well. So try to keep up.
Maybe 40 by the end of the season. I suppose that's a realistic target, isn't it, really?
Oh, that could be great. I've got good rides coming up, but it's not only up to me sometimes. Towards the end of the season, the weather, the horses needs to stay fresh, and we'll find out.
Harry, Wings of War, you must have been extremely pleased to get his head in front last time out. He's been knocking on the door, and good to see him finally win.
Yeah, that's right. He'd been promising to win soon, so it was great to get his head in front finally, and it was a good win.
Prior to winning, of course, he'd been running seconds, thirds, and he was close up. I mean, he hadn't necessarily done anything wrong, had he, really? I mean, he was in good competitive races, and he was always going close, just struggling to get that win.
That's right, Nick. To be honest, he had been running some really good races, and just been bumping into one each time, whether it be a well-handicapped horse or a horse with a big claim off its back, so through no fault of his own. But he showed what he could do the last time.
We know he's a decent horse on form overseas, and obviously some of that form here. They've put him up to a mark of 75. It does get that bit tougher, but is he the type of horse, Harry, do you think now that he's got his head in front, there might still be that bit more to come from him?
Quite possibly. He might just gain a bit of confidence from getting his head in front, and there should be more to come from him. I've always liked him. He's a horse that feels like he's got a lot of ability, and I think the mark he's off now is still competitive.
He's boxed in gate 2 as well, so probably a decent enough place to be with a horse like him in his running style.
That's right. I couldn't be happier with where he is. I imagine we'll just get a box seat and let him travel where he's happy.
Horses against him this time around, got like a Joyful Hunter coming back to Happy Valley. I guess you'd maybe see him as a bit of a danger.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's naturally going to be a competitive race. He'd be one of the ones I'd be slightly worried about, but with my draw and the way I think the race will set up, my horse is the one to beat, I think.